everyone! Today I am going to demonstrate how to make fruit and cheese kebabs. They're really good, they're healthy for you, they're a great snack, and they're really good if you're going to someone's house, like to a picnic or a party. This is a great thing to bring along. Okay, so I have my recipe, I have my food ready. The first thing, of course, I need to do is wash my hands. So I'm going to come over to my sink. I'm going to turn on the warm water. I'm going to use hand soap, and I'm going to wash my hands well for 20 seconds, which we know is singing happy birthday 2 times. I'm washing the tops, inside, between the fingers, all around. Get my hands very clean before I cook. And then rinse them well. And then I'll dry them with a paper towel. Okay, back to my demonstration table. Okay, so I'm gonna look at my recipe. And the first step in the instructions is pour lemon juice into a mixing bowl. Okay, so I have a mixing bowl here. And I look to the top of the recipe where the ingredients are listed. And it says that I need for lemon juice 2 TBSP. That means 2 tablespoons, okay? So here I have 1 TBSP, 1 tablespoon. Now be real careful because you don't want to mix this up with the 1 teaspoon. Make sure you get the 1 tablespoon, TBSP. All right, and then I've got my lemon juice. The reason I'm doing this is because if I cut up an apple, we all know that in a few minutes it turns brown, okay? And it's okay to eat an apple that's turning brown, but it just doesn't look very appetizing, doesn't look very good. And we want this to look really good, especially if we're taking it to a picnic or someone else's house. We want it to look appetizing. So what the lemon juice does is it stops an enzyme, which is in the apple, from mixing with oxygen in the air and turning the apple brown. So what the lemon juice does, it stops that enzyme, it kind of coats the apple and stops the browning process. So we're gonna put 2 tablespoons of lemon juice into the mixing bowl. So just measure it to the side, pour it to the top as much as you can, add that, and another tablespoon, add that. Okay. So now I'm on step 2. Step 2 says section and core the apple, cut into pieces, and toss with the juice to prevent a brown color. All right, so here I have my apple, okay? And first of all, I need to wash the apple, but I also have grapes that are gonna go on my fruit kebabs. So since I'm going over to the sink to wash the apple, I think I'm gonna wash the grapes at the same time. So I'm coming over to my sink. And see, I'm washing the apple. I am not using soap, just using my hands and water and rubbing the apple. Removing any pesticides or herbicides that might be on it from the farmer, from growing on the farm. The grapes, the same thing. I'm rinsing them very well. Okay, paper towel here. I'll bring them back over to my demonstration table also. Okay, all right, so I'm back to step 2, which is section and core the apple, cut into pieces and toss with the juice to prevent the brown color. All right, so here I have an apple. This apple is called a honey crisp apple. That's the kind it is. If you ever go to the store in the produce department at the grocery store, there's lots of kinds of apples. My 2 favorites are the honey crisp, and it'll say the name of the apple right above it when you go to buy them. My favorite is the honey crisp and the Granny Smith. Those are the green ones. I would say my least favorite is the Red Delicious apple, and you think, oh, Red Delicious, that must be delicious. But actually, it's not the sweetest apple. Some people don't like their apples sweet, so they might like the Red Delicious. But If you want, I would suggest trying the Honey Crisp, my favorite, or the green one, which is the Granny Smith. They're my two favorites. Okay, so pare and section the fruit means to cut out the core, throw it away, cut it into pieces. So the best way to do this is to cut to the side of the core. Okay, so I'm going to use a paring knife, a knife that's short, sharp, and pointed. I'm going to curve my fingers, keep them away from the blade. And this first cut I'm going to make just to the side of the core. So here's the core. I'm going to cut right to the side of it. Down through the apple. Okay. Now I'm going to lay this apple flat so it can't roll on me. Again, I'm going to cut right to the side of the core. So the core would be right down the middle. I'm going to cut right here. Okay, set that to the side, turn the apple again. Now notice when I'm cutting the apple, I am not going like this, chop, okay? I'm not hitting the cutting board hard. I'm not making that loud sound when I cut through it. I am mostly just kind of putting the tip down first and then rocking it back. So again, here's the core. I'll cut to the side of it, rock back and cut through it. And then I'll lay it flat one more time and cut through this piece here. And now I've totally cut out the core, and I can throw that in the garbage. Okay, now I need to cut it into bite-sized pieces that will be nice to fit on our kebabs. And I'm gonna put them right into the lemon juice so they can be coated and they won't turn brown. Okay, so for this first piece, I want the pieces to be about this big, bite-sized, not too big, but not too small. If you cut them too small, they won't fit on the skewer. Okay, that's the little stick. So we want to make sure that they're about this big. Okay, so cut it in half. And then I'll maybe cut this one into 3 pieces like that. So this is a good size. Put them in the lemon juice. Again, watch I put the tip down and then rock it back. Tip down, rock it back. You don't hear that loud chopping sound. All right, so here I think I'm going to cut it about right here. Tip down and rock it back. Put it to the side. Keeping those fingers curved. Making the blade, it's a nice size to fit on the skewer. I'll cut this one I think in 3 pieces. You can hear it's nice and quiet when I'm chopping. You don't hear this. Okay, now this piece I'll probably maybe cut it like 4 times or 3 times to get into 4 pieces. So here's 1. Fingers curved away from the blade. Here's 2. I'll turn it and go right here for 3. And then probably cut each of these pieces in half, keeping those fingers curved away from the blade. Now when you make fruit and cheese kebabs, you can use whatever types of fruit you like. You don't have to use grapes, pineapple, and apple like I am. You can use any 3 or more types of fruit that you like. Here. Okay, so now I'm going to toss the apple with the juice. That means mix it up so that the juice is able to coat all those pieces of apple so that they don't turn brown. This way, put that back in. Put that one back in. This way they can, you can put your fruit and cheese kebabs in the refrigerator and wait and eat this, you know, for an hour or 2 later, or you can have it sitting out at a picnic or a party and they won't turn brown. Okay, I think they're all coated with the lemon juice now, so it should be good. All right, so I'm gonna set that off to the side. All right, so now I'm on step 3. Step 3 is pare and section the rest of the fruit. So the other fruit that I have is grapes, and I look to the top. I need 1 cup of grapes. Now this 1 cup of grapes is more of an estimate, so I like to have a little more than 1 cup of grapes. I also like to buy the purple grapes for this recipe because when you make fruit and cheese kebabs, you do want it to look very pretty and colorful. And if I use the greenish white grapes, it's not as colorful because I've already got mostly white apple. I'm gonna have mostly yellowish white pineapple. So it's nice to have the purple grapes so that it gives it more color. So I'm just picking the grapes off the vine. I've already washed it so that I get at least a cup or a little more. A little more here. That looks good. Okay, so now I've got a little more than a cup of grapes. Perfect. Set that off to the side. Put the grapes back over here. All right, now it says to section the rest of the fruit. So my last piece of fruit is the pineapple. If you look up at the ingredients on your sheet, it says 1 cup grapes, 1 apple, and 1 other fruit of your choice. So I chose to get fresh pineapple. I love fresh pineapple. It's so good. It tastes so much different than pineapple in a can. So if you've never had it, you should try it sometime. It's really good. Now, when you buy pineapple at the store, you can buy it like this and cut it up yourself, or you can buy it in a little plastic container. Sometimes they have the round ones where they've taken off all of the outside and cut off the leafy top, or you can even already buy it in little chunks. Okay, so there's different ways to buy fresh pineapple at the store. All right, so I have a fresh pineapple here. I'm gonna lay it flat first, okay? I'm gonna take my knife, and the first thing I'm gonna do is cut off the top, okay? So this is pretty thick to go through, so you kind of have to get it started, and then cut through it, keeping your hands away from the blade, of course. Now, the interesting thing about the pineapple top is if we lived in a warm climate like Hawaii, we could plant this in dirt and it would grow a new pineapple. Pretty cool. Also, the thing about pineapples is when you plant one, now we can't plant them here because we have cold winters, but if you plant a pineapple, it takes 2 years for it to grow this big. That's a long time for one fruit to have to grow. All right, so we're gonna throw this part away. And then we're gonna cut off the bottom. So same thing, kind of poke the point of the knife through and start cutting through, keeping your hands very far from the blade. Okay, this part in the trash. And now we've got the pineapple, it looks like that, okay? Now we need to cut off the tough exterior. So what you do is you just start about like right here, cut off that outer layer. Okay, and then turn it a little bit, cut a little more, turn it, cut a little more, turn it, cut a little more, turn it. Actually, from one pineapple, you get a lot of fruit. By the time you cut this up into cubes, we're gonna have a lot of pineapple. That's really good. Okay, cut that piece up there. All right, I'm gonna put all of this into the garbage. Okay, and now I'm gonna turn my cutting board over so I have a nice clean spot to work with. So this is what the pineapple looks like. And you can see, if you can see in the mirror, there is a dark circle right here, okay? That's the core. It's a very hard, tough, we don't eat that part. So we're gonna kind of cut this pineapple in sort of the same way that we cut the apple. So I'm gonna start, here's the core. I'm gonna start right to the side of it and cut through like that. Okay. I'm gonna put this big chunk of delicious, juicy pineapple on my plate. Now I'm gonna turn a little bit. Here's that core. I'm gonna cut right to the side of it and put that chunk on the plate. I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. Fresh pineapple smells delicious. Put that on the plate. And one more. Here's the core, cut right to the side of it. So now you can see I have some chunks of pineapple here. Here's the core. We're gonna throw that in the garbage. Okay, so now what I wanna do is cut the pineapple into some pieces, okay? I think I'm gonna wanna use maybe 2 of these pieces of chunks of pineapple and cut them into bite-sized pieces. So this first one, I'm gonna curve my fingers and cut through like that. And I'm going to cut it into bite-sized pieces. Remember, not too small because you don't want them to break when you try to put them on the skewer. Okay. Now I'm not going to need to cut up this whole pineapple for my fruit kabobs because this makes one pineapple gives you a lot of pineapple chunks. So maybe just like a couple of pieces cut up will be plenty. Okay, so I'm going to cut this one again. Keeping those fingers bent. Okay, now I have lots of pieces of pineapple cut up and I have them over to the side. Okay, so now I've got my apple, my chunks of pineapple, my grapes, and I'm ready for the cheese. Okay, so I'm on step 4. Step 4 is cube the cheddar cheese. So here I have 1 block of cheddar cheese. And a lot of kids will say to me, "Ooh, why do we have cheese and fruit together?" If you've never had it, it's delicious. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be so surprised on how well fruit and cheese goes together, especially the cheese with the apple. Delish. All right, so I need to cube this. So what I'm gonna do is first cut it in about 1-inch pieces. Okay, so I've got that piece there. And now I'm gonna cut it into cubes. Nice sizes, nice size that will go onto the skewer. Okay, I think I'm gonna put this right on this paper towel here. Remember, don't cut the cheese pieces too small or they'll break when you put them on the skewer. So again, I got my fingers bent, cutting through this chunk of cheese, and cut it into some slices, and then cut them into bite-sized pieces. Okay, again. I can't wait till you get to try this. It's so good and healthy too. It's nice when you have something that tastes so good and is good for you. Okay, I'm gonna cut this up into my cubes. Actually, you can buy cheddar cheese already cubed too. That's not too hard to cut up yourself. And you don't have to use cheddar cheese. If you have a block of a different kind of cheese at your house, you can use that too. I like the taste of the cheddar with the apple the best, but when you make this at home, you can experiment with different kinds of cheese, different kinds of fruits. You could even have more than one kind of cheese. That would be good. All right. So now you can see I've got the grapes, the cheese, pineapple, and the apple ready to go. So now I'm on step 5, the last step. Place the fruit and cheese on a stirrer or a skewer in an attractive pattern. Okay, so here I have a package of skewers, okay? Now, a lot of people use these on the grill, and sometimes they're longer. They have the 12-inch ones that are about this long, and then they have the 6-inch ones. I like to use the 6-inch ones because it's like perfect for our students to use when we're making this. And it's good to share too, like if you want to take it to teachers or things like that. And it's good to take when you're going to a party because everybody can just grab one and put it on their plate and then get their hot dog or their potato chips and other things that they're having at the picnic. But you can also use the 12-inch ones. Either way is fine. Okay, so I'm going to take my skewer. It's got one end that's pointed, okay? I like to put a piece of cheese first because it kind of holds everything on there. And leave a little space at the bottom so that you have a handle, okay? And then you're just gonna start adding the fruit. Be careful when you slide it on. Give me another piece of cheese. And a pineapple. And there you go, there's one, okay? And you can kind of do this in like an assembly line. You can have several people helping you to make them, to go a little faster. And you can see where if you had different colors of fruit, it would be really pretty. There's another one. Okay, just keep going until you make them all. Like I said, though, I do like to have the cheese on the bottom, at least one piece of cheese, because that really helps them from sliding off. Okay. One on the end. There we go. And I'll show you one more. All right, here we go. Great. And I could probably fit more. Put an apple, one piece of cheese. Okay, so what I would like you to do when you try this is try eating a piece of cheese with the apple. It's super good. I'm gonna take off the cheese, take off the apple, and then what you're gonna do is try taking a bite of the cheese. And a bite of the apple. The cheese and the apple together is really delicious. So I hope you try it. All right, so I hope you try making this at home and you enjoy it as much as I do. Thanks for watching. Bye.